Hello everyone, how you doing? It's Jordan here. Now today we have a review of Process of Elimination. This review was written by the lovely Katie Pajamas. Yeah, we've had 3 videos from her in a row. She has high priority. Anyways, these are her words, not mine. Let's see what she thinks about this NIS American game. But before we get into it, subscribe, that'll be the best thing you do today. And also, if you do want to purchase Process of Elimination physically, then check the links in the description. If you click the link, buy it, you also support VM Paradise at the same time. Somewhere out there, someone asked the age-old question, what do you get if you cross Danganronpa, a dash of Zero Escape, and the board game elements of Clue? Why, you get today's game Process of Elimination from Nippon Ichi Software. This previously released in Japan in 2021. And it's only just making its way over to the West. With what I would consider an excellent translation and premise, it had initial interest and excitement around it from the visual novel community, as it had a very recognizable premise of 14 young detectives all stuck in a location together and having a traitor amongst them. It definitely sounds like a recipe for success, and one that had been tested and received well in some larger, recognizable visual novel releases, so who's to say that this one wouldn't stand up and meet them same standards? Let's dive in deeper to today's game, Process of Elimination, and see how it measures up. In terms of the story, Wato Hojo is seemingly your average detective. He is working in a local detective agency and trying to get by and solving cases one at a time. But just when he's on a case to stop what he believes is a serial pet murderer, he is kidnapped by someone who only goes by Senior Detective and swept off to an island in the middle of nowhere with only a tablet with a message on it from his kidnapper telling him he's now part of the famous Detective Alliance. It also turns out that his kidnapper is a detective from the DA as well, and he's brought Wato to this island where the DA headquarters are located to help solve the case of the Quartering Duke. This is currently the country's most mysterious serial killer, with over 100 victims that the DA just can't quite nail down, and now they want Wato as part of that investigation. He wanders to the headquarters, opens the door, and is immediately knocked out, and that's where the story really kicks off. He wakes up surrounded by the other DA detectives that are currently wondering not only who he is, but also how he got here and what he wants. Explanations do nothing to quell their suspicion, especially after in a previously undiscovered passage of the mansion, they find Senior Detective murdered, and it looks like Wato is the only suspect. He is given the nickname Incompetent Detective to fit in with the rest of the detectives withholding their names, and thus is the kickoff to the plot to discover the identity of the Quartering Duke, who Wato finds out is actually suspected to be part of the Detective Alliance and currently within their midst. In terms of mechanics, the game is split up into 2 main types of gameplay. The first is the main sections, which are visual novel based and a large majority of what you'll experience. The second are the investigation parts that function essentially like a board game where you move your characters to different interest points on the map to investigate suspicious points, gather evidence, and utilize your detective skills to learn more about the case. In the beginning, you won't be able to move every character, but instead a small selection. The other characters will be considered AI and will automatically move by themselves. But this is most likely done so you don't have to spend time moving so many all at once. You are luckily perfectly able to complete the section without utilizing all of them. Each character has several different ability skill ratings, all which tie directly into actions that all characters have available to them. Every character's individual turn consists of 2 actions to spend. You can move and also perform an action in one turn. Movement is performed in one of 2 ways, either moving using the movement space that your character is allotted, or utilizing the map-wide movement option that is accessed by pressing a button to switch to it. Please utilize this while playing from the beginning, as it's very useful in completing these sections with ease. I unfortunately didn't notice them until 75% of the game was done, so the first investigations proved to be a bit more challenging as a result. There is a downside to using the map-wide movement option, however, as it takes away your second action on that turn that you would normally have while using the basic movement option. That second action consists of a couple of options: Infer, Analyze, Assist, and Inspect. These are all utilized for different reasons, such as inspect is used for picking up evidence around the map, while infer is used to further investigate special points of interest on the map. Assist is also incredibly useful, as you can boost one character's inference skill by combining it with another character's assistance skill. There's also the analyze option, which is used to analyze evidence and add more insight into the case. Further investigations also offer more characters to move and new mechanics such as enemies tracking you on the map and poison areas that your characters can't end the round in or they will die. Overall, the system works well, with a few flaws. One issue I found was that sometimes the AI characters would end a round in one of the forbidden squares of either an enemy or poison and kill themselves, thus triggering a game over, which felt a tad unfair. The segments are also very few and far between. It felt sad to see them so infrequent because the concept was fun and incredibly interesting. Just when I was really getting into it, they would be already over. I also found it annoying that you can't save during these sections or during the case result sections that follow, although you do get a save point once you finish up the investigation before you go into the case results section. During the case results, you'll run through the case and answer questions regarding who done it, which if answered correctly, gain you points on the trust meter present during this section, or subtract them if you answer incorrectly. If this trust meter runs out, you receive a game over and must start this section over again. Just a quick note on performance. It ran flawlessly except for one crash I experienced early in the story, and there were no further issues after that during my 24-hour total gameplay time. In terms of the characters, this is where the game stands up on its own the most. Their designs are top-notch and the writing is eclectic across all individuals. They really feel like they have their own personalities, which for a game that is meant to be entirely focused on the cast bodes well. But again, there are a few flaws. The writing can occasionally seem to suffer and dip in quality. One character is described as having hydrangea colored eyes at least 6 to 7 times in the space of less than an hour of gameplay, and every time it happened, it meant less and became funnier. Additionally, sometimes there is a lack of continuity. One character at the beginning of an investigation is hell-bent on killing another, but as soon as the investigation is over, that's no longer the case for some reason, and it's not explained why, which felt inconsistent and confusing. There are many examples of both of these things during gameplay, which makes the writing feel good but not spectacular. What could have been better? This game, I wanted to love it. It feels like it was built to be a Danganronpa after Danganronpa ended. There are actually even a couple of tongue-in-cheek references to the story of those games, although you have to be really looking for them. That being said, there's a lot left in this game to be desired. The investigations, while innovative, with the board game style strategic planning, are well done, but the actual cases themselves always felt like the answers were so painfully obvious. There's no hardcore guessing done like in Zero Escape and Danganronpa. The game almost always lays it out for you. Whenever you're reviewing the case results, you'll occasionally be asked, like I mentioned earlier, these questions have 3 multiple choices to them, which sometimes even include obviously incorrect answers, leading them to feel a little bit pointless. After answering all these questions, you're then given the choice to select who the culprit is. By that point, it felt a bit too obvious. Even the final reveal of who the ultimate game culprit was felt disappointing, as I guessed who it was already about halfway through the game. Seeing as it was a mystery game, I expected a little bit more, mystery. Some of the game's story elements were still shrouded in secrecy, so there was that to enjoy, but it wasn't enough for me to feel satisfied for solving a grand mystery when everything was over. Instead, I was left feeling just a little let down. Overall, this game's biggest problem is it tries to be something it's not. It tries to live up to games that already exist and successful in their own right, but instead comes up short and just makes you want to go play the others instead. I honestly feel like if it had focused more on developing its own thing instead of imitation, it would have lived up to a lot more of its unique potential. Never let it be said it doesn't have unique characters and a mostly interesting story, but I can't see this one being something that will go down in history as one of the greats. If you do happen to want to give it a try for yourself, there is luckily a demo available on both PlayStation and Switch that goes through the first investigation of the game, as well as carries over your save progress, so I'd recommend downloading that to give it a very small taste of the whole if you find yourself interested. A 6 out of 10. Alright, thanks to Katie Pajamas for writing this video for us. If you want to purchase it, like purchase Process of Elimination, then check the links in the description. You can purchase it there and support VN Paradise at the same time. Go check out some of our other stuff. We've got a lot of stuff. I'm getting the ball rolling on VN Paradise once again. Oh yeah. Have a good day everyone. Take care.